Brian Lehrer on WNYC, and my next guest, Helaine Olen, says don't count on me when it comes to volunteering for her kids' school. She wrote an essay for Slate.com's Double X Factor site and says it's about more than donor fatigue. She joins me now. Helaine, welcome back to WNYC.
Good morning, Brian.
So your objections seem to be twofold, both the fact that mothers are expected to provide all this free labor no matter how busy they are, and that it's ultimately selfish and perpetuates inequality between middle-class schools and poorer schools. But let's start with the mom issue. Is this a case where fathers get off the hook?
Fathers get so off the hook. And I want to issue an invitation to all callers right now. If anybody's child attends a school where fathers do the majority of the volunteer work, please, you will go to the top of the queue. Right, Brian?
That's right. But nobody's going to call.
No.
212-433-WNYC. If you're the one school in America where the fathers do most of the volunteer work, we want to hear from you. 212-433-9692. Let's take one of those dads, Donald in Harrison. Donald, you're on WNYC. Thanks for calling.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So you're a dad and you do volunteer work at your kid's school?
Yep, I sure do. I'm a class parent. I was the cub master also of his pack, and I just have to, they said call in if you're a dad that does more volunteer work. So I did.
Right, and not well. I think Helaine's question really was if your school has the preponderance of volunteer work being done by the fathers.
That wasn't the question I heard. The question I heard was if you're a dad that does more volunteer work, give a call, and that's what I did.
Right.
If you're changing the question, then that's up to you.
Well, Helaine, what was the question?
The question was, is there a school out there where the dads are doing the preponderance of the volunteer work? I'd like to know.
That's the question I'm responding to. I'm responding to the question you asked, which was if you're a dad that did more. I'm calling about your response. You're changing the question.
So, Donald,
sort of typical. Thank you very much.
Well, typical.
Anyway, Don, I think you're doing great work.
That's right. And now Angela in Brooklyn also wants to take issue. Hi, Angela.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
I just want to say my kids are past elementary school age, but when they were in public school in Brooklyn here at PS 295, I would say that half of the parents who volunteered at the school and did so lovingly were men, and they contributed tremendously to the school and made it what it was.
That's terrific. I'm really glad to hear it.
They did everything from Cupcake Friday to organizing photo shoots to Spring Fling, you name it. They did it all. And they were head of the PTA, running up the treasury, everything. So, including my husband. So I just want to say, I don't know where your kids are going to school, but that has not been my experience. I have 3 kids in public school. One's in college now and beyond public school system, but I just don't know where you're coming from.
Well, we need to get that dust from your school and sprinkle it on all the other schools.
I don't.
Please tell your dads to move around the New York area.
Anyway, rally the guys, rally them. What can I say? Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, another caller shouts out to Brooklyn Tech as a school that has easily as many dad volunteers as moms. So we want to be fair to the dads. And, you should be happy, Helaine, that you're finding some schools that actually have preponderances of men.
I think I'm getting ideas for another feature.
Do you think, Helaine, that if all schools were held to the lowest common denominator, that anyone would really win?
I don't think they should be held to the lowest common denominator. I think what we do have to ask, though, is why we are doing this. I think there's become this culture where we don't distinguish between making latkes in the classroom and, helping children in neighboring districts. To point out, Mamaroneck is near Portchester, which is, a district where a lot of parents cannot volunteer in the classroom. They're working 2 or 3 jobs.
Now, I promise all the dads who are hanging on right now that we will have a separate call-in the coming days just for fathers who volunteer in your schools. That wasn't the question. It was about schools where the preponderance of men are volunteers, but the preponderance of the volunteers are men. But we will have a separate call-in just for you dads who are volunteers at your kid's school. But Beth in Basking Ridge, can you do it in 15 seconds? The dad volunteered and he wasn't even appreciated?
It's not so much that he wasn't appreciated. He was appreciated. It's just that he wanted to run it kind of like a board meeting, whereas a lot of the women were in it more for the social value and for sharing ideas and coming up with themes and being creative. And he just kind of wanted to, get to the bottom line.
Styles clashed. Beth, we got to leave it there. And with Helaine Olen, her article on the Double X site on Slate is Why I'm Sick of Volunteering at My Kid's Wealthy School. And now it looks like you have a follow-up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Lehrer on WNYC. Thanks for listening to WNYC On Demand. Please check out our other programs at wnyc.org or on iTunes. This free service is made possible by our listeners. Become a member of WNYC today.